Bienvenidos todos. Welcome everyone. I am the Seamster, and what are we doing today? We are replacing bar stool seat covers. That's right. These covers can be pretty expensive, especially if you get them in different colors. If you have a favorite college that you root for, these covers are easy to replace, and the material you can purchase through SailRite.com. They got so many varieties of different colors that you can use, and also I'm going to show you a bonus of putting piping, which is that real thick rope that goes around the outside. It's made of the same material. It can be in different colors. That is a simple job to add on the piping onto the outer edge, but you got to have the right sewing machine. And I know I've been bragging this sewing machine up, so I'm going to keep doing it. It's the Nichi HD22. It's a simple sewing machine that can handle really thick materials, vinyls, leathers, canvases for awnings. If you have a job that you need to do something, that is a sewing machine that you really need to look into. I'm not a spokesperson. I don't sell them. I'm just bragging it up because I've had it for years and it works great. Okay, so here we go, step by step, how to replace your vinyl seats on your bar stools. Let's do this. So we have our seat, and simply we just turn it over, and you'll see it has a wood base, and that's what the staples are fastened to. So we have our utility knife, so all we have to do is just cut all along the outer edge, just on the inside of the staples and closest to the edge. So here we go. Pressing a little firm. Just turn the seat with you. Don't be too much in a hurry. Okay, just like that. That's that edge. So now I will just take the wood and peel it off. See, just like that. And put that aside there. And our foam insert. You can just pull that out too and set that over here. And this is what we are left with. So now I'm going to show you next how to make the measurements for your top cover. So let's measure. I'm at 11.5, and I'm going to allow a quarter of an inch to allow for the sewing, and then it'll be right at 11.5. And then this way here is also at 11.5 and allow a quarter of an inch, so that's another ½ inch. So I'm at 12 by 12. So I know that when I set this measurement down on my vinyl, it's going to be square 12 inches by 12 inches, and then we are going to set this down on top of our square, and then we are going to use our artistic skills and go a quarter of an inch around this edge here. So we're gonna have to do a little hand drawing there to make that nice and rounded off. So that's that. Now our foam, we have to measure that, and that is at 4 inches, and we are going to allow 1.5 inches more vinyl, so that when this sets down on there and it's sewn, we can pull it tight and then staple it underneath the wood, and that allows a good 1.5 inches to 1.75 inches of material underneath the wood. So we also now have to measure for our material that's going to go all the way around in length. So we have to go around our base or around the foam, either one. And we know I'm at 42.5 inches. Now I'm going to allow 1.5 inches more in length. So going all the way around this way in length. So I'm just going to add 1.5 inches, and we'll cut that off later. So I know that has to be at 44 inches all the way around because of 42.5. And our piping, which is that thick string that goes around, I'll show you that in a minute. That also needs to be at 44.5 to allow the overlap when I join them two pieces together. So I have some extra material left over. I have a lot of red vinyl from a boat that I reupholstered. So I'm going to use the red, and I'm going to go with a white piping. And this piping has cut edges all along there, so it's easy to bend around a turn or a corner. So it's better if you have a round bar stool seat. That'd be even better, to be honest with you. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut this 12 inches by 12 inches, and then this will be at 5.5 inches tall, and then the length is going to be at 44 inches, and then my piping is also going to be at 44 inches. It's good if you have this cutting mat, because all you have to do is just line that up with the lines, and that makes a square. So here's my 12 by 12 square that I needed. Now I know that this is going to be at 44 inches. I'm already at 5.5, so 36 is the entire length here. So 36 and add 8 right there, keeping that line. Puts me at 44 inches. Like I say, it's nice to have this cutting mat because you can just line these right up with the edge there. And that puts me at 44 for that. And then same with this piping. 36 and 8. So you remember the corners where I said you were going to have to round out your edges. So simply just take your bottom board and even it out all the way around 1/4 inch. Take a pencil or a pen or a marker, something that won't seep through the material, and line it up on this side here, the corner, the rounded edge, and just keep it on a diagonal. Not that much of a diagonal, just a little bit of diagonal, keeping 1/4 inch, and just go around all of the corners. Just like that. And when they are all done, take your rotary cutter, hope you got one of those, and just go around all the corner. And that rounds them off. Know that our measurement was 42.5 exactly all the way around, and that's why we gave ourselves 1.5 inches extra, so that when we go to sew. So take your material and fold it inside out. So the bad side, the good sides are facing each other, and the bad side is facing you, and you fold that in half perfectly. And if you have this cutting mat, it's going to help tremendously. And half of 42.5 is going to be 21.25. So where 21.25 is, while them two are just put together evenly, 42.25, draw a line on one side, making sure that these ends are even touching each other. Okay, so we know that that is exactly 42.5, and this is where we are going to sew. Line that I just drew, and I'm simply going to sew right on that line. Remember, face to face together. And I'm using a T70 thread, an industrial commercial thread. And I'm going to backstitch. And that's what it should look like when I turn this inside out. This is a piping foot. As you can see, it has a hole where the needle will go through, and then on the underside it's beveled so that the piping will slide through there like that. So I'm going to go ahead and attach this now. You can see how easy this is to put this piping foot on this sewing machine. You may have to just test that by setting the presser foot up and down, but that's how easy that is to put that piping foot on. Piping foot is on. We have our surface, and what we're going to do is we are going to start on the back side of our seat. So if you have a front or back, just start on the back side and start in the center, so face up, and your piping is going to ride right along the edge all the way around. So go ahead and place that underneath the presser foot, and we are going to give it one roll down. We know that, right? Okay, and then we are simply going to start sewing. Okay, now when you get to the edge here, we know that these are already cut, so we're just going to slowly turn. This is where it gets real slow, and you just want to go around and around and turn that with your material. Don't push it and don't pull it too hard. Just let it just pull itself through. I made it to the end, and it's very important. I should have said this in the beginning, but I'm going to say it right now before you start. Leave yourself a 1/2 inch before you actually begin your sewing when you first start putting your piping on. Okay, and the reason why is because this has to overlap. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to cut this on a diagonal but overlap it that 1/2 inch. Okay, so here it is. I'm cutting just like that. Okay, so now I have to peel this apart. Peel the piping apart because it's just simply just glued together, and you want to peel this apart far enough. See, there's a plastic inside there, and I want to cut that right where this other one meets, right there. So let's go ahead and just snip that, and it's gone just like that. Cut a little bit more, it doesn't feel right yet. Okay, and then I'm going to overlap, and this is simply going to sit right inside like that, and that welt is going to go, that piping cover is going right over the other one, just like that. Okay, and now I can go ahead and continue my stitching. You have to raise up your presser foot like that just to run that through. Okay, and then quick back stitch. And that's that end right there with that overlap right here. Now we know where our seam is at here, and where we sewed this together for the sides. We're going to offset that so it's not as much material that's stacked on top of each other. Okay, so as you can see, good side to good side, and then right over the top, just like that, right on that edge. And we're just gonna sew starting right after this seam all the way around. So let's go ahead and hold this together just a little bit beyond the seam. Presser foot is down. Wow, that's a lot of material. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to keep this material all the way flush with this piping and this material here. Okay, so again, how to get it started. I know it's a lot of material right here. Here we go. Let's see what happens. Okay, we are at a corner. Now we just got to slowly go around this corner, keeping this material underneath that piping foot. Okay, needle is down, so it's good. Just work it around. Okay, just slowly pulling the material. Again, crunching that material in your fingers. So far, so good. Straight shot, looks like. And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to do this all the way around. So I will continue this when I get towards the end. Alright, so we made it to our end, and I'm getting up to that bulk of material here, so I may have to raise my presser foot as I go through here just a little bit, stopping and then going forward, but we're going to see. So let's find out if I can make it right through there. And it did. Wow. Now we'll back stitch here. Just like that. It is done. We'll just turn this inside out. Just like that, we finished up the sewing, so now we just have to turn this inside out. This vinyl's a little bit stiff, but that's the way we want it when it's brand new. So look at that. Looks great. All we have to do is just insert our foam. But first what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put our logo right here in the center of the seat. And I did a little practice, so just wanted to make sure that it was going to work just fine. So I'm going to do that right now. Okay, so I got the heat transfer vinyl logo in the center, and I'm just going to apply my Teflon over the top of that. And temperature is set, so I'm just going to drop this down right on the seat cover. And it does not take it very long, so I'm going to give it 10 seconds and that should do it. Okay, that's 10 seconds. Let's pull off this. Now I have to pull off the plastic coating on top of the actual vinyl. And just go over it one more time. Not for long, for only about 5 seconds. And that just ensures that it just kind of melts itself into the top layer of the fabric. It's a little dark right now, and that will, you can see the darkness, it'll fade away. So now all we have to do is just put the foam in. So we're going to squash this thing in there, make sure that it sets all the way down in the corners, and just go all the way around and make sure that it's on the inside of the seam where that piping is. Okay, so once that's around, then pull these corners up slightly, because right now they're just pushed down. Want it all evened out. Okay, so got that set in there. You can take your plate, just set that in. Might have to stretch the fabric just a little bit. Once that's in, okay, you can see there we have about a 5/8 of an inch all the way around on this lip right here. But when you press this down and then overlap it, you'll have about 1.25 inches. And then simply what we'll do is we'll just take this electric staple gun with stainless steel, and what we'll do is just go 1 inch all the way around, just slightly pulling, and keep the staples about, like I say, about 1 inch and 1.5 inches away from each other. Then when you get to the corner, the critical part of course, just push down, and you see that all of this is going to bunch up right here. It's going to bunch up. You just want to overlap them on or over each other and just work your way around. And just like that, we just finished our bar stool seat cover, or any type of upholstery that takes piping. As a matter of fact, any type of upholstery, that's pretty much how you do it. So if you plan on doing this, a job like this, or starting from scratch, just so you know, it's probably going to take you about 20 to 25 minutes from beginning to end per seat. And then the bonus was me throwing on the HTV. Maybe it's something that you're looking forward or getting into. Also, the key is having a sewing machine that's going to be strong enough for you to actually punch through that piping and all that vinyl. So remember, the only excuse you can make is the one that you actually say. Peace out, everybody.